I thought England got lucky against Congo, but Portugal squeaked through against Croatia yesterday. Switzerland with a win. They're both through. Stick around for this and a little bit more. But before you do me a favour and hit the subscribe button just there, especially if you're a returning viewer. Why haven't you done that already? You're coming back, means you like it, hit subscribe. So let's start with the England game. So we watched it the other day. They went 1-0 down. They did what they've been doing for a very long time and started very slowly. And I just don't think you can start slowly. Well, I don't know what the reason is for them starting slowly, but they started slowly and they go 1-0 down. Maybe Pickford should have saved it. But for me, the biggest issue, and my 8-year-old daughter noticed this. She's a big football fan. She asked why the centre-halves had moved over. She said, well, Dad, why have they all gone to that side? And as I just turned around to her and said, exactly, love. Why have they all gone over to that side? So Gehi and Konza both move over to the left. Jed Spence, who's getting a little bit of the blame for missing the ball and for coming across to cover in the centre, which is the right thing to do. He see the immediate danger is the guy in the centre, right? Konza and Gehi have moved across. Spence goes to cover. He then misses the ball as it goes over his head. Maybe she should have got to it, but he shouldn't have been there in the first place. One of the centre-halves who definitely would have got their head to the ball there would have got there in the first place. So he misses, ends up in a goal. Is it Pickford's fault? Those things happen, right? You should never get beaten at your near post is something you say all the time, but people get beaten at the near post. That's just the way it is. He'll know it was a mistake, but the biggest mistakes are what happens beforehand. And it does beg the question. If you go back to my previous videos pre-World Cup, I'd said this at the beginning. We made the wrong player selections. There's players, Alexander-Arnold should be there. Maguire should be there. Do some of these goals not happen if those guys are there, particularly Harry Maguire? The way I see England defence at the moment, you've got Konza, good defender. Gehi, good defender. And you've got Spence, good defender. James is out. I also think James is a good defender, to be fair. It probably doesn't happen if he was there, but we don't know that. We don't know that. So what we're lacking, I believe, in defence is a defensive leader. You know, Gehi and Konza, they strike me as good players, but they don't strike me as leaders of a defensive line just yet. Harry Maguire does. And it baffles me how Tuchel still sees him as his fifth choice. The fact that Livramento went and got injured and Alexander-Arnold wasn't the player who got brought in, that's also crazy to me. It's like, okay, if you didn't want to select him for the first 24, fine. How is he not the backup? How is he not the backup player? But anyway, the first 20 or so minutes before the hydration break didn't look great. Hydration break comes in, they're much better. And actually, after that, I think from an attacking perspective, it wasn't all doom and gloom. The keeper made, 3 or 4 really good saves. I think 2 headers from Bellingham. There was a clearance off the line, and there was another save somewhere else. Yes, Wissa could have put Congo 2-0 up. He didn't. We could have been 4-1 up at halftime. We weren't. So I think I got to halftime, and everyone's comparing this to the Iceland game. In the Iceland game, I couldn't see us getting a goal from anywhere. I was watching the game thinking, we're never going to score here. I didn't get that feeling with the Congo game. I always felt like there was a goal in it for England. Fortunately for us, there was. Maybe the keeper should have saved it, but same thing as the Pickford incident, right? I think Twanzebe defensive awareness was probably the bigger problem there. How he allowed Kane to just creep around and win that header against him while he was on his heels. That was probably the bigger mistake out of the two. The keeper had made a lot of good saves. I don't think you can blame him for that one personally. The second goal, no one was saving. But I still felt, even before the first goal, I felt England were always going to score. So we have that part of it. And then you start getting demoralised, right? Because you've watched France, you've watched Spain yesterday just dismantle Austria. It was easy. Austria aren't the bad side, and Spain dismantled them easily. Would England have done that to a team like Austria? I don't think so. We've probably beaten Austria, but it would have been a 1-0, a late goal, an extra time victory or penalty, something like that. And that's the difference at the moment. Spain are going in and getting their job. They walked off like it was nothing. They scored 3 goals and they were like, there we go, business, see you for the next one. England are celebrating like they won the World Cup. And I think another team that I think is struggling is Portugal. I genuinely think Portugal should have gone out yesterday. They played well for a stint in the first half, right at the beginning. And then Croatia really grew in the game. They went 1-0 up. And at 1-1, once Ronaldo scored that penalty, which was, I think, a really weak penalty. Unlike the Kane one, by the way, which, remember, even if someone dives, it can still be a free kick or a penalty sometimes. He won that penalty. It should have been a penalty. I digress a little bit. It was a soft penalty, the Portugal one, I feel, but these things happen. Went to VAR, the decision was given. 2 hands around him, I get it. Good penalty from Ronaldo. But from that point on, I think Croatia had 4, 5, maybe even 6 chances to go 2-1 up. Portugal rode their luck a lot. But what a header by Ramos for the winning goal. It was a great cross, don't get me wrong, but he still had a lot to do, and it was a great header. Portugal proceed to the next round. Whether they're going to go as far as I thought they were going to win the thing. I don't really think that anymore. You can't really look past France, can you? France are only going to lose, right, if they have a slightly bad day and the team they're playing really perform, get everything right, make very little mistakes. Ironically, Paraguay might be that team. Paraguay might be that team that have the ability to just sit behind the ball and go, we ain't moving. We're just not going to move. We'll take you all the way to penalties. And then they got a chance. Anyone's got a chance in penalties. But if we're thinking realistically, I can't really look past France, right? And finally, the England game against Mexico. Now, Mexico have been, it's going to be a tough game. They're right. I think Mexico have looked a better team than they are, though. They're playing at home. Everyone talks about the Azteca. There's a few reasons why they're good at the Azteca. Obviously, the fans, the crowd, the home territory, but also the altitude and the humidity. Now, if you've watched Mexico in the past, what they tend to do is they tend to press high and hard for the first 20 to 30 minutes. And what that does to a team who's not used to the altitude and the humidity is it drains them of their energy. And if Mexico go 1-0 up, which they often do, well, then you're looking at a situation where you're 1-0 down, you're now exhausted from their high press. They've got the lead and they're used to the conditions. Your back is to the wall. I genuinely believe if England can keep the door closed for the first 20, 30, maybe even go into halftime at 0-0 or even nick a goal themselves, I think we'll win this game. We're a better team than Mexico player by player. We need to get the defensive part of our game right, but we've got enough in attack to disrupt them. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that we're going to win this game 2-1 again. A 2-1 again, especially if we can get to halftime at 0-0 or rather, if we can get to halftime without conceding a goal against us. I think we've got a real hell of a chance, because I think Mexico, have they really been tested yet? I don't think so. They haven't been tested by a really good team. They've played some good stuff, but I think their strength lies in their home advantage. And if you can prevent them from scoring in that first half, I think we're going to start to see them get frustrated. I think we're going to start to see them get mistakes. And I think our quality will then come through with the players like Harry Kane, Bellingham, and so on. But what do I know? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, give it a like. If you don't agree with me, tell me why, and don't forget to subscribe.